episode 144, Utah's Toughest, with Rory Duckworth. Welcome to the pursuit of the perfect race. I'm Coach Terry Wilson, and with each episode, I bring stories of athletes to you that share their experiences at races in order for you to learn how to have your perfect race. We will hear stories from athletes of all ages, abilities, and races of all distances. So regardless of where you fit in, there's something in it for you. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Now let the pursuit begin.
Honestly, I wasn't too excited about it when I first heard about it. I thought, oh, this is just you're Cowboy trying to do something different and, whatever. But he came and spoke to our tri club, and it was like awesome. It was like the coolest new speaker we've had. We do a guest speaker every year for like a kickoff party, and they're all really good. And he did really awesome. And I was like, just his talk was good. I've always been a person that loves doing the hardest, for what I should say, the hardest triathlon. There's obviously some hard running events that I haven't dived into or probably won't ever dive into. I've always tried to find the hardest, and it's literally, if you look at it from a statistical standpoint, one of the hardest triathlons in the world. And I'm always someone who's looking for the hardest triathlons. So I was always appealed to Ironman St. George and Ironman Tahoe, Ironman Whistler, Ironman Coeur d'Alene. And if you're familiar with any of those, which I know you are, or your viewers are, all of those have been canceled. And, they don't really talk about why they're canceled, but we kind of all know the reasons. And a lot of them is just because they don't sell out. And, if there's no money there, they're obviously not going to put on a race. And so it just really, really bugs me that we have these Ironman events, and most of them are turning to just be really easy. And that's what people are signing up for because they want to do the easiest, Ironman to finish. And that's great, and I did it. But at the same point, what people don't understand is that every Ironman is hard. So, you might just be out there a little bit less or a little bit more, but I wish that we had a different mentality where we gravitated to doing things that were, scary and hard, and that's why I like this race is literally something that I'm actually worried about not completing. Really? Yeah, I literally cannot say that about any other race in my life. The other ones that I've done before, I was always trying to qualify for Kona, and so I was pushing the limit, right? But at no point did I ever feel once I had a mechanical or I fell on my bike or something like that I would ever quit. I just don't quit. But this is the first race I feel like it's going to be physically impossible to finish this race for me. With that being said, there could be other reasons for that, but so I like to know that I'm scared. I like being scared. I like knowing that this is something that might not be, attainable for me. I don't think we're going to have a huge crowd there, which kind of irritates me because I think people should be, jumping at this type of stuff. I think people should be scared and do things that worry them. So,
nice. So now the race is in a few days. We have 3 days after the race.
Yeah.
So what's your mindset right now for this race?
Well, I've done a lot of racing. So, I'm scared, but I'm not nervous. I know the course is in my own backyard, which is awesome. It's beautiful. I've ridden the bike course, or sections of it multiple training. I'm just here to finish. So it's almost like my first race without all the nerves of like the unknown, right? So I know it's going to hurt, but I'm just here to finish the race and hopefully not be out there all day so I can come home to my family. But so my feelings right now are just focused on getting everything ready for the race. So I'm most comfortable during it.
Okay. Now, what kind of nutrition plan do you plan on using?
That's a good question. This race is kind of unique because we need self-support. We have it as a support vehicle. And I've recruited some people in the Salt Lake Trail Club, some members. And they're, I haven't quite planned on it, talking a little bit more, but I think I'm going to have them go ahead of every 10 to 20 miles. And then whenever I need them, I'll stop and, refuel. But I honestly just thought, I'm an easy guy. Especially when you have a support crew there, you don't really have to think much. You have a bunch of stuff available, right? You can pull off to the side of the car and just eat. So I just got a bunch of candy and Oreos and chips and, stuff that like most people probably wouldn't eat. But I enjoy it like a long bike ride, because on long bike rides, we just hit gas stations, right? And that's all the crap they have there. So what I go to is like Sour Patch Kids and Red Bull and Coke, anything that has, a cherry flavor in it, which I do not drink or eat outside racing, but, during races and long workouts, that's what I enjoy. So I just plan on having at least, between 200 and 400 calories an hour and staying hydrated, making sure that I'm constantly wanting to pee, not constantly wanting to pee, but making sure that I have the urge to pee and stuff like that as far as my liquid needs. I don't even know what the weather is. I think it's going to be like 80 plus degrees. So it's not going to be bad. But yeah, so just staying hydrated, salt, I use base salt, and just a bunch of candy and Red Bull.
Okay. Now, with this course, what's the elevation gain for the run?
Okay, good question. And I keep mixing up the run. Okay, the bike on the website says like 89 or 9,000. And they've changed the bike course a few times, but the time I rode it, I came up with 10,000 feet. And when I do it in Strava, it's 10,000 feet. So it's close to 10,000 feet. The website says like 89 or 93, I can't remember. And the run, I don't know if it's happy with it. I think the run is either 6,000 or 8,000 feet. And I don't know, maybe you know it. Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't know it.
Okay, let me, sorry, I should know this, but they've changed the course a little bit a few times. So I'm going to get this right too. It's 6, well, first of all, it's not just the elevation gain that you get. You have to realize that we're going to climb up to almost 11,000 feet on the bike, elevation-wise. Does that make sense? So if you're in Texas, I believe you guys are what? 1,000 average. And so as far as like breathing and stuff like that, this is definitely not, it's even scarier for someone for you to come up and do this because you have to come up here and acclimate for a week or so to get used to it. So I'm just looking on their website now, and I really should know this. So the run, and I think a lot of it's, okay, so of course they put it in meters. Wonderful. That's about 6,000 feet. Yeah, 6,000 feet. That's what I'm run, right? They want you to have someone to do this thing with you? Yes. Yeah. And they line up, and really we say run, it's really going to be a hike. There's not going to be a lot of running unless it's downhill. I mean, this terrain is a mountain. I mean, this is a ski resort. You're literally climbing a ski run. It's not I say run, you're not running, you're hiking out. Especially after that type of bike, there's not going to be a run. It's just, you're going to be hiking a lot of it and then jogging, the flatter sections and then hiking and then jogging downhill and blowing your knees up, and stuff like that. So, that would be interesting. What do you feel like your time will be for this race? Oh my gosh. So, I think we between, I think it was at 9:43 or 9:38, I can't remember. And so this kind of goes to show you the time difference that I'm going to be out there. Granted, I'm not racing yet, so I'm not going to be like crazy. You're not going to give your best effort on that day. I would say, no, I'm not. I'm not going to. Well, that's not what's it. It's like your first Ironman, right? Like, your goal is to be finished hot and not worry about anything else. So what you're saying is you want kind of like, I'm going to be extremely conservative with it that way. So you want to go here, throw it out this year, and then next year come back and sure, that means. Okay, there you go. Or, I'm saying this now, I mean, I'm a competitive guy, right? If I know there's a guy only like 5 minutes ahead of me, well, I'm going to go for it, obviously. I'm not going to just like lay down and die on this thing. But if there's like, 5 or 10 guys ahead of me, go for it, guys. Okay. So if you're training, what's your longest time about the runs so far that you've been in training? Yeah, so I did do a 2.4 miles maybe a month ago. And honestly, my swimming's been really crappy, but I'll swim like a 110, I think, with no problems. And I haven't really been swimming that much. I'm not horribly worried about it. I'm going to be sore on the swim coming out of it, but it's okay. So I thought I swim at 110. The longest swim was a month ago at 2.4 miles. I probably should have put it easily for 3 more miles in, but I didn't. So I'm swimming maybe 3,000 yards a week right now, which is like, you're like, what the heck? Yeah, I know. So I'm not worried about this. Okay. Now, I know you're an insurance agent, right? So you work full-time and you're also training. What's the most hours you're training a week? Oh, man. Okay, well, let's get back here, because we're going a little too far, because you have to realize, last year in 2017, I did 3 Ironmans, right? One of them being Kona, and I ended the year completely and totally exhausted mentally, physically, and financially. So 2018 was like my recovery year, right? And I really did a good job at that. Like, I don't even know how to tri-bike right now. I still play tri-bike. And I have some cheap clip-on bars on my own road bike that I'm getting this on. So 2018 is like, hey, just, do things so that you don't get too fat, right? I've gained like 15 pounds, and I'm just doing things that keep me motivated, but still have a life and not like letting triathlon take over my life like it did in 2017. So as far as like training hours and all that, they haven't been good at all. It's not recommended what I've been doing, but I have a pretty good base and a pretty good experience, and I can suffer quite a bit because I've been doing this for a while, and that's why when we go back to the racing thing, I'm just there to finish because my training has been really poor, and I know that, and it's planned that way. That's on purpose. But after this race, I actually plan to get going again and make 2019 a lot better year and stuff like that as far as triathlon. So to answer your question though, let me pull up my training peaks and see what I think a couple weeks ago I really had on. I've been doing that on bikes. I really enjoy biking. So the biking's been getting done. The running's actually been getting done too. The long stuff. So I've been pretty consistent. I just want to say that, I've been a little bit lazier when it comes to actually doing every single workout. And if anything slacks, as you can tell, it's my swimming. Just because it does take so much time to get to the gym and get ready and all that. So, let's see. Last week I went out of town. I put in 5 hours of training. That's a good paper. There you go. That's a good way to look at it. I had a race the weekend before, so probably my best week I was at 14 hours. That was my best week. Okay, so what is live training isn't really going to be an issue for outside of triathlon, other hobbies. So I'm just kind of enjoying those right now. And then, after this race, I'm going to take a week or two off completely. And then I'm going to dive back into it and really start doing those 2 days again and getting back into shape. So,
okay. Now, when was the last time that you were personally humbled by a race?
I don't know. I can't say. I honestly can't say. What was that? Never? No, there's never been a race that I finished thinking like, oh, I was going to quit or I almost quit. I've never had that before, ever. I'm just being honest. Like, this was a medical thing where like I had a knee injury before the race, and then it just gave me a whole racetrack, and it was because of the race, but it's just because of my knee injury or something. There's never been a race that I was like, holy cow, I might not have ever completed that. And I've done some pretty stupid, crazy training. Oh, you know what? I take that back. I did a race called Salt to Saint. It's 430 miles on your bicycle nonstop. And it took me 26 hours. And about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, pitch dark, in the middle of a part of Arizona, I literally broke down and didn't want to continue. I was beat. I was done. And Salt to Saint, that was the last time. Salt to Saint. Yeah.
It's like when I get to that point of the race.
I hope not. I literally hope not. Now, that was at like probably, 20 hours at that point. 20 plus hours. So I certainly thought, there's a time frame. So I got to finish this race, I think, in like 17 or 18 hours, like 12 o'clock. We'll start at 6. So I literally hope I don't ever get to that point. As long as I feel my body, I feel like my endurance and my base is pretty good. My body's going to hurt. I already expect that. But, I don't know. Those 24-hour race, man, those things really put you in a different place. But, triathlon is learning on triathlon. You can talk about, and you get Whistler, never thought that they were that hard, honestly.
Okay. Now, you're rope riding, you just keep those maybe? Or you just need
Yeah, I'm gonna put on my MVs. I'm gonna switch out my aesthetic because my road bike's at 10 speed. My MVs are at 11 sound there, so I'm gonna do that after this.
What's the years?
1128. I've got a compact on my road bike, which is nice for this. I constantly shoot clip-on bars. I only done one ride with those. But it was fine. So that would be nice to have those.
Okay. What else do you want to have before your actual race?
I don't know. I just, as soon as I were thinking about doing this, I could see us put together a really good support crew. And, just have everything written down planned. And, just show up and if I can have a hard day, just have fun with it.
Cool. Well, Rory, I look forward to talking to you. It's going to seem like a few months, but it's actually going to be a few days. I thought it was interesting. And we will continue this conversation after your race.
Cool. Sounds good.
Awesome. Have a good day.
You too.
So, hi, everybody. We're going to talk with Rory Duckworth, author of Utah's Toughest Now. He just completed the race yesterday, and we will be continuing the interview now afterwards. So, Rory, welcome back. And how are you feeling?
Oh, I feel good. I'm tired and sore, but feel great.
Nice. So, was it everything that you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, it was definitely really hard. And my lack of training definitely hurt me, which I think I underestimated that aspect. And then of course, me going into it not so competitive was kind of a joke too, because I should have known better that I'm just a competitive person. And so that kind of screwed up the nutrition plan too. But hey, we made it. So. Oh, the day before? Oh, I just eat normal. I don't really do anything specific. I'm plant-based, so I don't eat, cheese or eggs or dairy or anything like that. So I keep things pretty simple, a good old plant protein and a shake with spinach and berries and nuts and seeds and stuff like that. So. Oh, check-in. So we went up there we met at my house at 2:00, and stupid me, I should have known better. I had to switch I sold my tri bike, so I was using my road bike because that's all I have. And I haven't been using my nice set of MV wheels, so I decided, I'm going to use my MV wheels for this race. Why not? Well, I tried to do it like an hour before we were leaving to get it all ready. I had to, change the brake pads out and change the cassette out. And it was a complete disaster because the cassette wasn't like, I don't know how to say it, like the rear derailleur wasn't like, set up properly. And I can do a lot of bike stuff, but that's one I kind of don't mess around with. And it literally, when I took it on a test ride, my chain fell off because I didn't have the limit screw right. And so it was like a moment of panic, like, man, I'm an idiot. I've like totally screwed my bike up and I have to leave in an hour. So I hurried and figured it out, and we got it fixed and dialed in, and it was really smooth. So that was good. But lesson learned there, don't change things the day before the race on your bike. And then we went up there. So we went in, we checked in at 4:00. It was just at a gas station, a Maverick gas station. They have you show your items, that are required. Your help has to come with you, and, sign waivers and stuff like that. So we all went up there, and then we, after that, we went and ate with the Tri Club, just at a local pizza and pasta and Thai place. And, then, after check-in, we went and they did a mandatory briefing, which we went to. And actually, I never go to the mandatory Ironman briefings. I feel like I've done enough that they're kind of just a waste. And I read through the manual pretty good. So this one, I felt like I probably should go to it because it's just a little bit different event, with the self-support and all that. So I went to it, and it was really nice. It was really cool. Everyone was like really nice, and just kind of a different atmosphere. Obviously, there's not 3,500 people, and a lot of these people are your friends, and a lot of them aren't. Like, I didn't know a lot of people there. Yeah. So there was 10 states represented, and, I didn't know these people. And so that was kind of cool. And it was just kind of a small crowd. I think the exact numbers were there was 30 solo people, I think was the final number. And then there was X number of relays. I don't remember that, but 30 total solo people that had signed up. I don't know how many started. Maybe it was 30 that had started. I don't know. I don't have the numbers exactly on that. So they did that briefing. That was really nice. I kind of knew all that stuff, all that stuff. I'd read the website, so it wasn't a big deal, but it was just nice to do. Then we went and ate. I just got like a really spicy curry and some white rice. So. Yeah, it didn't even bug. I really have no issue. Like, I can eat anything, so it's not a big deal for me. Yeah. So then my in-laws have a place up in Midway, kind of close to the event spot, and we just stayed there with our support crew, and just hung out and just like nothing really was going on. So. No, because I was going into it not from a competitive standpoint, just to finish, and I didn't think in any way that I would have a problem with that. So I was more just like treating it like a long weekend, workout type thing. And I'd done the course before, so it wasn't like not that big of a deal. Like, yeah, my training wasn't there and I hadn't swam a lot, but it's not that difficult for me. So I just didn't feel like I wasn't that nervous. Well, as early as possible, but we were like talking and just having fun. And so I didn't go to bed to probably like 11:30. So, 4 o'clock. Like the night before or the day before or something. Oh yeah. So no, I just, get up and eat. I just lay my stuff out the night before what I'm going to wear in the morning. The car was all packed with the nutrition and stuff. We had the car all ready to go. And so we woke up, ate breakfast, and then got in the car and went to check in. We're probably one of the earlier people there. And I don't know. I just figured it'd probably been better just to show up early because I start chatting and talking, and it's better just to have everything set up so I can, mess around. So I got it all set up, and it's a really easy, super small transition area, really laid back. Everyone knows everyone, I don't know. I think there's probably like 60. Yeah. I mean, probably between at least like 30 and 60 bikes, I would guess. I could be wrong. I don't know. Yeah. Like a team and a relay, and you can split it differently. I didn't really look at those rules. I wasn't too concerned. We had a lot of members doing it though, so we had a bunch of friends up there doing that way. Well, as far as the morning, we tried to start at 6, but it was too dark, so we didn't start until I think like 6:15, 6:30. And the temperature was fine. I think in the morning it was probably like a good 65 degrees. Water temperature was fine. It was probably, 68 to 72 degrees in the water. Yeah. And, it was dark. We couldn't see the first buoy when we swam. And, the sun started to slowly go up, and then you could see better. Me and one of my other tri friends that lives here, we were swimming side by side together, and we hit the first buoy, and then we just assumed, I think we just assumed where the next buoy was, and I was just kind of following him, and I think he was just kind of following me, and I actually pride myself on like doing a good job on like swimming straight and stuff. And then we realized like the buoy was like in the total opposite direction, and so we had to change up there, but we maybe swam an extra 100 yards. It wasn't anything too crazy. So you had to do 4 loops of that. And on the second loop, I had to pee so bad, and you don't get out of the water. So I just swam over the dock where everyone was kind of watching it all happen, because the last buoy is by a dock where we all got in. And I just sat there, and everyone's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I have to pee." And they all just started to laugh at me. So unfortunately, whatever, I don't really care, but the swim was long. It was almost like 5,000 yards. Granted, I did swim a little bit extra, but it was closer to 5,000 yards than, 4,100. And so I was wrecked. Like, I mean, I told you before, I had not been swimming that much. So like 5,000 yards is one of the longest swims I've done all year. Right. So I was just like, the first like lap or two was fine, but the third and fourth one, I was just like, wow, I'm just like surviving here. I'm like, this is going to really hurt later in the day, with all that soreness. So, I made it out. I tend to cramp in the water, and I had none of that. So that's like really good. My time was like obviously really high comparably, because it was not, 4,100 yards on my watch. I think it registered 4,900 yards. So you could imagine. And I took the swim pretty easy. Like I never at any point felt like out of breath or, anything to that effect. So I just kind of it was just a stepping stone to getting through the day type thing. So, I knew you were going to ask me that. I think it was like it was like an hour 27 or something, or something close to an hour 30, I want to say, or an hour 24. I can't quite remember, but, I think my goal was like 110. I think I wanted to be 110, and I probably would have been around 110 if it were, you know, accurate distance, which is fine. I don't care. 800 yards, yeah, whatever.
So you get done with the swing out all 4 hooks, and then you hit the transition. This is not like a normal event transition here. This is a very homegrown race, so there's probably not even a tent there to change in or anything.
No, I just had my tri-suit on, so your support could help you. You know, they helped me, like my sleeved kit on. And I took my time. I didn't want to run up the long ramp and get tired. It just wasn't even worth it. It seemed like some people were hustling, and that's fine. I got in transition, just kind of put myself on slow, just talking, just joking around, and then got out of there. And then just headed out on the bike and just, you know, of course, like typical Rory, just kind of pushed the bike a little too hard. And, you know, I feel great. My pacing was kind of out the door. But then again, I didn't really know how to pace it because I haven't really been training, and I didn't really have that all dialed in. So I just kind of went off feel, which is probably the worst thing I could have done for how long the race was and stuff like that. So I got going, and my whole goal was like to not be competitive. But of course you start counting how many people, because you see how many people are coming back on the other side, and you're like, oh, there's only 4 people in front of me or 3 people in front of me, you know, like I could be in first place, and like, which is like just so dumb, because my whole goal was to, you know, for my aid was when they pulled over to the side of the road to like take my time and like eat food and like drink. And now it turned into like hurrying. Right. And so that came back to bite me because I was way behind on nutrition by the end of the bike. And I mean, you know how that is when you're way behind. It's like trying to play catch up is really hard. So I probably bonking around like mile 70 or 80. And by that time, the heat was like 80 plus degrees, and it's just no cloud cover whatsoever, just straight heat. And of course, the total climb on my final total climb came out to be like 9,000 feet. I think I told you 10, but it came out to be 9,000 feet. So you can imagine you're climbing up these just hot sun type, you know, climbs. And I'm already behind on my nutrition. And, you know, so as the day went on, my time just my power just slowly dropped and dropped and dropped. And of course, the hill, the Pine Canyon, which is like the hardest part of it, is the very last climb. And it's 8 miles, and it's absolutely insane. And it was so hot, and it killed me. Like, it literally put me in the grave, that last climb, which was so, you know, I've done it multiple times, even after a long ride. So for it to do that day just kind of was like shocking to me, because I'd done it multiple times. And before though, I hadn't gone as fast and as hard, and I stopped for lunch and stuff like that. So that's how important nutrition is, you know, and can show you. So I ended up walking parts of them which I've never in my life walked. I think Yeah. So the very first triathlon I did, I walked my bike up a hill. I had a mountain bike that I borrowed. I walked up a hill. This was the only other race I've ever walked my bike during a race, because I was cramping so bad and it was so steep that it was actually safer and faster to walk my bike up the hill. So that's what I did. 20+%. Yeah, it's insane. And at that point, my knees were just killing me. Like, my ligaments to my knees were hurting. Like, I was afraid that my knee would, like, my muscle would just, like, explode or something. So I just basically was like, I don't even care. I'm going to walk this, because the whole time I was worried about the run, and I'm thinking I could grind up this and like blow my knee. Every stroke was painful on my knee. And I thought, man, if I ruin, like, it hurts, and I could probably make it through the run at hurting. But what I don't want to do is like blow my knee out or some weird thing. Right. So I'm like, I'm just going to here. So I walked, and then I ended up having 2 people pass me on that climb. And so I think I came in like 5th or 6th out of even the relays and stuff. So yeah. And when I got there, I was just done. I mean, like I was gonna run. I knew I was gonna run, but I just wanted to take my time and just relax and try to eat and try to like just recover a little bit.
Wow, now it seems like you had some really dark places on this bike ride.
Yeah, I would say like I'd say the times before that it's like pretty normal fatigue, like dark stuff. Going up Pine Canyon was pretty rough after it was pretty rough.
So what was this like for you as far as mentally?
Oh, well, I've been through it before, so it wasn't like that big of a deal. Mentally, it's just, having that attitude of continuing and keep going and not quitting, and seeing the like end picture, and just a step at a time. And that's pretty much it. That's what you have to do, so. Yeah. 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 And in this case too, your support couldn't go up the last 10 miles. They had to go around. So that whole climb, like I filled up 2 water bottles and like got some food, but I had run out. It was so hot. So put that in perspective. Like you have no support up the last climb either. Exactly. So it took me, I think it was like an hour 47. It took me to go like 8 miles, basically that climb. No, I didn't walk the whole thing. I walked probably a mile of it. Yeah. Yeah, it ruined my cleat. Luckily it was at the end because it ruined my cleat. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a really steep downhill. So it's not like nice. It's kind of sketchy actually, but it's downhill. You're not pedaling. So that was nice. And you cool off and then, you're done. And, I rolled up and I was just thinking like, oh man, I just need freaking water right now and to lay down. Like I am just done. So. I think, sorry, I really should have this. I think it was around like 6 hours and 30 minutes. Sorry, I should know this. I could pull up really easily on my phone, but I'm obviously using my phone, so. No, I mean, like, obviously in the back of your head, you have that thought, but I never quit anything. So it just wasn't even like an option to quit, right? I just knew I needed to go and just take a minute, which ended up being 30 minutes, and just calm down, collect myself, do the best I can to like get back to, a good place. And no, I never quit, and I've been through this way too many times to know that you can recover from dark places and, you can still do it. So, and I had my wife and my daughter came up and, like the last thing I ever wanted to do was like quit in front of my daughter, just be like, how would I ever be able to, when she wants to quit, how would I ever be able to tell her she can't, So, yeah. Pretty much. I laid down and I wasn't sleeping, but I was just closing my eyes and trying to have people shade me and, get liquid and food. I couldn't eat anything though. I was, you get to that point where you can't eat. So you're just trying, but it's really hard. So, yeah. Yeah, it's all trail. Well, the good thing is you have a pacer. You can have a pacer. So Perry walked with me, and it's really not a run. This is a hike, by the way. There's no running. I mean, there's a little running, but it's mostly hiking. And the first 5 miles is just crazy. It's ridiculous. So Perry was walking with me, and I mean, the first mile in itself is one of the hardest ones too. And my legs were just so tired and sore, and I was lightheaded, and it was like you're just barely walking. And we probably did like 30-minute miles, plus up this first mile. And I'm having to stop a lot because I can't breathe, and my heart rate's getting really high. And, it was a struggle. And then finally we got to the top, and you run around this lake, and you boulder it. There's a bunch of boulders around it. You're not really running. You're just like stepping over rocks and boulders. And that's finally when I started to feel in control with like my heart rate. I figured I wasn't going to die. But anytime we hit any incline, steep incline, it was really tough on my legs and my breathing and my heart rate. My knees surprisingly I was cramping a lot. So it was and it wasn't like, I never had any full on seizure cramps. It was just right before them, And so the cramping was more what I was dealing with. My knees were fine at this point. It was just the cramping and the sheer exhaustion and soreness from, the legs cramping on the bike. So we finally made it to the top peak, and I was just done. I was just exhausted. And then we started to run down, and that's when I felt like I started to come back to life, when we started to actually be able to run, and we were going at a quicker pace. But before that, we were calculating what time I was going to finish. And we both we didn't say it to each other, but we both realized as we're calculating, oh crap, I'm not going to make this time cutoff. I've got to go. And so that was mile 2, I want to say. Reality kind of set in, I can't walk. I have to go. We have to move. And so I started to get a little worried that I wasn't even going to finish it because we weren't going fast enough. It was just so slow. The good news is the first lap we kind of pushed because we were worried about that. And we finished the first loop in 3:20, I want to say. It was 3 hours and 20 minutes. That's 11 miles. And then we started to calculate, okay, we're fine. Because basically the first 5 miles is you're literally climbing a mountain. The time made it look like, we were going to be out there all day. And we didn't know the course that well to know. We made up a lot of time on that last 4 miles. So, 6 miles. So we ended up coming in fine. I had 6 hours to do the second lap, which was plenty of time. And so we just kind of, and I was just 1,000 times better on the second loop, 1,000 times. Well, I couldn't eat much. I tried to eat a burrito, but I couldn't swallow it. So I was eating just my car nutrition, which was Sour Patch Kids and all that good stuff. And it helped. And then water, Sour Patch Kids. And then when I came to G2, I was drinking, chicken noodle soup. It's a vegan version of chicken noodle soup, but, just eating and drinking. And I had a Red Bull, and I just was in such a better place at that point that I could actually eat stuff that I felt so much better. So then I got in, I probably stayed there for 10, 15 minutes on the second loop just to get some more in me. And then I felt pretty hydrated and fed leaving there. And then during the second loop, I just ate candy and stuff. And we weren't really moving that. We weren't really running on the inclines. Yeah, the heart rate got up, but it wasn't it wasn't anything crazy. So. No, I just basically just making sure that I wasn't getting, crazy high. And I was going off Phil on that one, just based off of how I felt and stuff. So, but you were crawling up these hills, it wasn't a matter of like, you couldn't run these hills. So if you tried it, your heart rate would have just spiked.
So you're not wearing running shoes, you're wearing more like
Trail shoes. I use some Hoka Speed Goats.
okay. But yeah, speed, there's no exercises on the run. You do like a Cowboy.
Or a
Yeah,
handle.
there was actually an aid station. There was an
there
aid
was.
station. Mile 3 or 2, and then you saw it again at mile 4, and they just had basically water. But we did have camel packs too. So I just camel pack with water in it, and then some treats and salt. So those are kind of like what I had to get me moving.
Now, what were the views like on the front course?
Oh, it's amazing. Like, it's really pretty. Imagine like, mountain, big pine trees. The it smelled really good. Just smelled like fresh, mountain air with pine trees, and there's like boulders. There's like a lot of rocks, like granite rocks and stuff like that you climb over and cross. And there's streams, and like on the course, they didn't even know this, but there's 2 big trees that fell, and you literally had to crawl through the down trees because there's no way they could have moved them off the trail. And on the first loop, I hit my knee on a branch, and it hurts so bad, because you're just like going through this downed tree, and it's huge. You couldn't just walk around it. You had to go, through it. So.
Is this one of your favorite races maybe that's a little bit different now from all the typical Ironman races and all the road races that you've done in the past, where it's more of almost like an adventure and kind of do your own thing?
Yeah, I really like, honestly, the self-supported small atmosphere is really cool. But the thing I like about it most, it's hard to say, like, do I have a favorite, right? I have like a lot that I like a lot. But the reason why I like this a lot is because it's super hard and it challenges you. It's not just like going and doing Ironman. At this point with my physical ability, I feel like I can go and just do any Ironman, and it's not a problem. Now it's about how fast can I go, right? How can I qualify for Kona? That's kind of the challenge at these Ironmans. This one was like, you're not worried about how fast you're going. Well, maybe next year I'll be worried about how fast I'm going because now I've done it. But it was just like, can you actually do this? Is this actually physically possible to do? Which is cool, that thought of like the unknown, and like it was almost like my first Ironman again, like not knowing if I could do this or not, and what to expect and stuff like that. So that's why I really liked this one.
So for people that have done multiple Ironman distance races, this will be something for them to go, okay, now can I really do something different?
Yeah.
It's still the same distance, but it's really a lot different, and it's a
Well,
lot harder.
Yeah, and to say that you can be done by 12 o'clock too, which is kind of important to me. I've done some like 24-hour event stuff. I don't like them personally because I don't know. I just don't like them as much. So yeah, if someone could be like, oh, I want to go do a double Ironman, right? And you're going to be up for a long time. And yes, it will be a definite challenge. This is more like, it's like an Ironman, a super, super hard Ironman, right? Or Ironman distance race. So that's why I like it. And you have to be done by 12 o'clock to officially count. So yes, it's alternative to just your basic, well, I shouldn't say basic. Ironman obviously doesn't do things basic, but it's just an alternative and different. It's just different.
It's often a little more black and it's more of, could you tell that this was going to be something Norman?
Well, no, because Norseman's, I've looked at Norseman, and I don't mean to offend people. It just doesn't seem that hard to do. And plus, you do a lot of road running at that one, and then you climb a mountain, right? Which is great. I'm sure it's really difficult, but I don't know. Looking at the numbers, it's hard to compare the two, I think. It just really, but yeah, it's probably more like Norseman and the Swiss man and whatever other ones there are, but it's just different. But then again, I haven't done those either, and that'd be great to do. The problem with it is they're across the world, and it takes money to do it, and yeah, exactly. So this was cool that it was like so close, obviously, and even if you lived in California, it's so close. And just like James Lawrence himself, like he has this brand now because he's mentally tough, and it's kind of just how do I say it? It's just like a way to, or it's just I don't know. He does a good job, and he's a really inspiring guy, and it's cool to be there with him and to know he thought of this and stuff like that. Now, I personally would probably make it a little harder. I know that sounds crazy, but after completing it, it's almost like, well, I did that. Now what? Like, how could I make this event harder other than like not train at all, which I did, but
Right.
Earlier this week, before we talked the first time about some people were just basically saying not nice things about Cowboy events, and it's basically a knockoff of whatever. But I feel like this is more of the experienced athletes trying to find something new. Not necessarily a first time athlete going out and, hey, let's do this distance. This is more about
yeah, totally. You didn't have that. I recognized. I didn't see anyone there that did not look like they hadn't done multiple Ironmans. Honestly, most people looked very fit. They looked. You could tell they had that mental edge. Like they knew when they signed up for this, like that they were going to push themselves. Like they studied it. They wanted to do it. You could see that in their eyes, and that was what was really cool. Is there's just a bunch of crazy people that wanted to see if they could do this or not, and that's what I loved about it. And this would definitely not be for the first timer. This just. I don't know the statistics, but I believe there was only 4 or 5 solo people that finished out of the 30. And even out of the relays, I think they're out of there's only like a total with relays. There's only like 15 people that finished this. Yes. So it was definitely very, very difficult. It was not anything easy. And that's what I loved about it. If you, I've completed 13 Ironmans, not including this one, of course, but I wanted to do something different. I wanted to challenge myself and know what it felt like to fail almost, and see what it was like. It was great. I felt really good. We weren't pushing it because we knew we were going to finish this. I got past by the first and foremost, there was a professional female there, Sarah Jarvis, who absolutely dominated it. I've raced with her before, and I usually pass her on the bike. No problem. And no offense to Sarah. I usually pass her, and I could never catch her on the bike. She just had an amazing day. And then on top of that, she won overall. Sarah Jarvis won overall Utah's toughest and absolutely killed it. She did amazing. It was so cool to have a female win overall. She's a beast. It was crazy. And then I got passed on the second loop. I got passed I think his name's Chris Wall. Super nice guy. He passed me, and you really don't know if someone's doing a relay or a solo. But at that point, I didn't really care. I was just there, obviously it goes through your head, you could catch up to this guy. And then you start thinking okay, you're not here to win this. That's not your goal, but there's always that competitive side. Right. And so at a moment on the last loop, I saw them climbing the mountain and I thought, oh my gosh, I could probably catch them, and I'll just do this heroic 8-mile effort, or 6-mile effort and try to pass them, right? And so I made this attempt for like maybe 30 seconds, and I thought, oh, this is so stupid. Like, you just don't do anything stupid. Just finish this race. Let him win. It's okay. And then you can train. You can come back next year and see what you're made of. So I ended up, I believe, taking second place male and third overall. And then there's an individual, my friend Dantley. He probably would have won the whole thing, but he took a wrong turn on the run. Yeah, on the run. So, well, I mean, it's marked, but you got to understand it's like a mountain, right? They can't just like drive cars and put signs everywhere. And so they use tags and they use like these little lights and, to their benefit, like it's hard. It's just a really tough terrain, and they had to run the course basically before and mark it. And I never got lost. I went up there and reconned a little bit of the course, but you just kind of had to take time and look to see if you're in the right direction. I don't know the full story with him, honestly. I don't know exactly what happened, but that's what I was told. But I know a few people did get lost, and it's just a matter of like stopping and knowing where you're at and looking around and stuff like that. So was it marked extremely well? I mean, it was okay. And I never got lost, and Perry and I didn't have difficulty, but I could see how people possibly could have got lost a little bit. But, that's not on. I think that's more the racers should take I'm not blaming the race directors. People and athletes should never blame race directors for that. We need to take, and as part of the rules, to take action to know the course. And yes, if they get lost, then you need to figure it out. You need to find a way. And, there's multiple things you could do. You could have GPS out there, and you could have the course loaded in, things like that you could do. And I don't want to say, shame on Dantley or shame on the race directors. It just happens. So, but Dantley was doing really well. He would have probably ended up winning if he hadn't got lost. If that's the story, that's what I think I had heard. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's just complete dark. So you got to have lights. And luckily we had a full moon, which helped, but you still need lights. It's just so dark, but it's just awesome. I mean, the temperature drops, you don't have the sun out anymore. And it's just, you in the mountain basically with your pacer. And it's pretty. I mean, we saw porcupine, we saw multiple deer. Yeah. I mean, you see a lot of wildlife out there. It's just cool. It's like quiet, and it's just, I can't even describe the feeling, it's just, you're just by yourself, and we're about to complete. We turned our lights on at the second loop. It was like mile 6 of the second loop. We turned our lights on. So we had 5 more miles left of just pitch darkness with our own lights, and it's gorgeous. Yeah. So there was a light company there that they were letting people demo lights. So they put it on my my camel pack thing, and they were awesome. Those things were way cool. I feel bad I don't know the name. I think someone took a picture, but they were so cool. I had a headlamp too, but I would totally leave the headlamp and just do this thing. It had a battery pack, and it was like kind of like a strip of lights on your chest. And it was just so cool. It was awesome. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it was so cool. It was so cool. I need to get more information on those, but I would highly, highly recommend those. Yeah. Not the last mile. The last mile is like runnable, like downhill runnable. And it's on like a big wide trail, not a lot of rocks. You can actually run it. It's not super steep. The mile before that, so like mile 20, let's say 20. Yeah, 20. Mile 20 is like down a ski lift, like a really steep ski lift, and there's no trail. You're like bushwhacking it down a ski lift. And so you're going through plants and stuff like that. And it's super steep, and my knees are just like killing me because, my quads are all ripped up. And so my knees have like tendonitis in them at this point. And so we were just kind of zigzagging and taking it slow. You're trying not to like fall because it's so steep the second to last mile. And I was just like thinking, okay, we just have to get through this, and then we can run the last mile and we can be done with it, And no one was like chasing us. We weren't against any time frame, so we were just kind of enjoying it. But we didn't want to be out there forever too. We wanted to get this thing done, and we wanted to go home. We wanted to take a shower, so. I get really emotional. I think it was just, all the adrenaline and all the hormones and stuff like that get out of whack. And I start getting emotional about like, what I just did. And, I think back on like how I, just kept going and I never quit, and how things can turn. And, maybe those people that I possibly will inspire, or, like my daughter, I can look back and tell her what I did and know that like I didn't quit, and that I gave everything I could on that day, and, just never quit. Yeah. But what you said, like your emotions on camera, that was just amazing to see. You felt like you did something. How many years ago? Well, it was that was my 11th Ironman. So yeah, it took a while. So after you see where everybody is, like there's a lot of lights there. I mean, and you can see the one video that was on your Facebook is basically this small arch. Yeah. It looks like somebody's car lights aiming at it. They were official lights. Okay. Yeah. It's basically like, what, 10 people here? Yeah. Oh, there's probably, you could probably only see 10 there because other relays were still out there. But yeah, there's probably a good 15 to 30 people, but 10 that were caring about me, I should say. Okay. So, you get the first game with me and all of this. Yeah. I mean, I'm emotional. It's like doing your first Ironman, honestly. Like, yeah, you don't have the red carpet and you don't have all the screaming fans and stuff like that on the side, but it's like you just accomplished something that was so hard. And knowing, like, I knew, because we saw people out there that were not going to complete it. We knew they were on their first loop, or they weren't far enough, that they were not going to do it. So you knew. And these were relay teams too, like they only did half of it, or they only did a part of it. And it was just really like, oh my gosh, like I literally just did that on my own. And well, I shouldn't say on my own. I had a lot of help from my support group, but I physically just did that. And like, it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling to know what you can put your body through. That's like what I signed up to see if I could actually do that. And there's no doubt in my mind that I didn't think I could do, I knew that I could do that. I totally knew I could do that, but there was always that little bit in the back of my head that you just didn't know. It was that unknown, just like your first Ironman. And that's what's so cool about it is you don't know, everything has to go right that day. You can't have any bike problems, or if you do, you got to figure it out. And that's why I love racing is you just constantly have challenges that you have to overcome. And it's like life, right? You're going to have crap happen, and you're going to have to figure out a way to do it so that you can move on and finish, and that's why I love racing. It just applies into work. It applies into school, and, it's awesome, and it's cool to have my family there to witness it. So. Knowing that this took out so
that took you emotionally, physically, and even mentally to push yourself to get to that finish line. Did you expect that in the front end that you are doing that much, or did you think it was just a little bit less than that?
I literally screwed up my nutrition. Like, that did not help me at all. I thought it was going to be easier. I really did. I didn't think it was going to be that hard. I didn't think the bike would have wrecked me. I knew the run was going to hurt, but I didn't think the bike, I thought I'd get off the bike and feel like somewhat decent because I'd done it so many times. And I feel like I'm a pretty good biker. But me being out of shape, I was really confident I was too confident going into this. And I screwed up my nutrition, which led to a very difficult day. But overall, like, I didn't think it was going to be that hard. So yeah, I at the meeting, at the pre-race meeting, I tried to convince people to make the bike course harder because I would love to see something, but people weren't really buying that. And I doubt they make it any harder next year just due to the fact that not very many people finish. As far as I know, it's probably the highest DNF rate of any full distance triathlon that I know of, but I could be wrong about that too.
So about 30 to 60 people or teams were there and finished.
No, I would say total of like, I hate to like get his numbers wrong, but I know that 30 solo people started the day and only 4 to 5 solo people finished. So put that in perspective. And the relays is not much better. Percentage-wise, it's probably the same, you know? And there was no solo person besides Sarah Jarvis just killing it. I mean, she I think fell apart on the second loop of the run too, but I think other than her, there was one relay team that just dominated it. They were some of our friends, and they were done in no time, but they're extremely athletic, fit people. Other than that, everyone struggled. Like, it didn't, well, they even struggled. They just had tons of time, and they really pushed it, so.
So, what's next for you?
Well, I signed up for Indian Wells 70.3. And then I've got some half marathons I'm going to do towards the end of the year. And then I'd like to make it to Nice. I'd like to go to Nice, France for the Worlds. Yeah, for 7.3. So, and then I don't think I'll do any fulls next year. Maybe I throw one in, but I think 2020 will be my full Ironman comeback year. I'll be in a different age group. Not that that matters, but just kind of. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
So, we didn't really touch on this, but did you go to Nice that was swag for this race?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, I did. Crap. He made these really cool coins.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a really cool coin that has his logo on it, and it says Utah's toughest. And he's there at the finish line, and he said to me, and I don't know, maybe he says it to everyone else, but he just basically told me, he said, you know what my brand stands for, and I want to present this with you, and it was this really cool coin, which I thought was awesome. Like, I personally have like 1 billion medals, so the coin thing was like super cool, and it basically just like signifies like that I completed that race, and yeah, it was just really cool, and I've known James for a while. Him and I have a good relationship, and he's just a stud and a really nice guy, and yeah, and then he had some sponsors get some stuff, but I just I have so much crap just over the years that I told him to give it to someone who would enjoy it, and who would make good use of it and stuff like that. So they did have swag items. I'm over that point in my life that I don't need any more necessarily material items. I don't do it for the t-shirt or anything like that. But the coin was really cool. That was a good way to remember the event. So.
So, looking back at that, if you could change anything about this race experience, what would you change?
Well, I would first. Okay, you're talking about the race itself, not what I would do differently, but the race.
Right.
Okay. Other than like I did not like the fact that the swim was long, but now thinking back, I kind of wish they would make the swim a 5K. If I would know it's a 5K, then mentally I'd be okay. I think it was just, I wasn't mentally ready to swim farther than 4,100, if that makes sense. And I think if I would have known it was a 5K, just because of the number 5, like 5,000, I probably, and it's more, right? I probably would have spent more time in the water. I think that would have motivated me, knowing like, oh, I've never actually swam like in a race 5 kilometers. So I'd probably change it to a 5K just to make all those swimmer people out there happy, and to make it like, an even number and not like, the Ironman distance number. And then I would probably change the spot of the swim where they did it. It was really choppy in the morning, and it's a good area for like spectating and like parking and stuff like that. But there's a better area on the other side of the lake that they do a lot of triathlons. And maybe that's why they didn't want to do it there. Maybe it just wasn't available. I don't know. But if they did that, you'd lose a lot of the bike course. You'd lose like a good amount mileage wise, but that's where you could make the bike harder and go a different route. But supposedly there was some traffic issues there, but he said that they could probably get it changed this next year, depending on how this event went and stuff like that. So there's a few things like that. So the swim and then the bike was good. I love ending with Pine Canyon. I love that aspect. And the run I would try to make the run maybe even longer and more runnable. Whereas a lot of it was just a lot of hiking, right? And I don't mind hiking, but it's just not like, how do you train for that other than go up there and hike, And so it's hard to train. It's hard to train for that type of run and have like a good run, right? So I was just kind of winging it because I'd gone up there twice and experienced it, but I would like to see it more trail running, like running, not trail hiking. I don't know the area well enough to know how to make that possible, but I know there's tons of trails and stuff like that. So he could even do like a 30-mile run with maybe less elevation or just as much elevation, but then do the run longer. I don't know. I'm sure they could figure it out, but if they didn't change anything, I'd be happy. I mean, it's so hard being a race director. I could imagine getting everyone's opinions that it's hard to say, but those would be my recommendations. Again, I'm not a race director, and so I'm sure what I just recommended is probably not possible or whatever. So I give them the benefit of the doubt. Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, at that point,
we're not doing that in the Iron distance. We're just going above and beyond, and he's doing 17 hours.
Exactly. And then we wait. And then they wait to see, like, if no one can complete it, then they back it off the next year, But
I mean, you just make
exactly. Yeah, exactly. See, and that's like, other than that, I mean, I could only imagine how hard that event was. But this was kind of on that level for like triathlon, right? Like, I'm not going to try to compare the two because Barclays is probably way, 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 way harder. But yeah, but for a 1 day Iron or 1 day full course distance event, this would be on that level, right? Just the amount of people that did not finish, which is really cool. That's what I like. That's what I wanted. And he provided that. So that was cool.
So what was your favorite part of this race?
Finishing? No, I think honestly my favorite part was seeing my daughter when I came in off the bike.
Really?
Yeah. Like she was just so excited to see me, and like she's just so young, but she's just like, they just absorb that, right? Like her seeing me bike, like I hope that she realizes and like grows up to, I don't care what she does, but as long as she just grows up to be, not a quitter, and, she's inspired by other people and she pushes her limits. And, yeah, that was probably the coolest thing to see my daughter.
Wow. So you've done this race now. You've done 11 full races.
I've actually never done a marathon. There's the Leadville 100 mountain bike ride. And like, I'm a horrible mountain bike rider, just FYI. But there's something about that. Like, I would love to do that race. It's just, an endurance event that everyone does that I would love to do. I did one this year called Crusher that everyone does down here. It's really hard. It's like 10,000 feet, and it's not a mountain bike ride. It's an off-road race. I used my mountain bike, but that was really hard. And I mean, like, yeah, that was a good one. So I'd love to do like Leadville 100. I don't know. That's all I have at this point. There's nothing that really comes to mind. I mean, obviously the Berkeley Marathon would be cool, but I'm not a trail runner, so I don't think that would be possible. And then you have RAM, which is, a race across America, which it's not even financially possible. And, yeah. Yeah. So logistically it's hard, but I don't know. I've thought of some crazy, I kind of learned from James, and I kind of brainstormed some crazy ideas like, oh, what if I did this, and raise money for this or something. But, I don't have anything that I have in mind or whatnot. But of course I would try to recruit James for some help. So. You could, my Instagram name is Speedo Tri-Man. I post, it's just kind of a mix of family and triathlon and just stupid posts like that. Or you could go to the Salt Lake Triathlon Club Facebook page. We have a public Facebook page, and we post a lot of cool stuff there, both on Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, those some spots to follow. Yeah, so I'm really actually not taking any athletes right now. So what I would suggest to do, we have a bunch of coaches with the Salt Lake Triathlon Club. You could go onto our website and you could pick a coach there. And all the coaches, I've they're my friends, and I trust them, and I know they do good with athletes, and I would recommend all the Salt Lake Tri Club coaches on there do a great job, or even yourself. So. Yeah.
What's your definition of a perfect race?
Definition of a perfect race is when you cross that finish line and you can smile and be happy about what just happened. I don't know. Is that a bad answer?
No, it's your answer.
Well, that's up to each individual person, right? So if you can cross that finish line and feel like you gave it everything you got for that day, that's a perfect race.
Wow. Thank you so much for coming on and doing my first practice. I enjoyed this. This is going to be so fun. Doing a spin episode with everybody, doing it before the race and after. It's going to be a little bit longer, but I think it's going to be pretty awesome.
Cool.
Well received. So thank you so much for
coming
on.
Yeah. Cool. It's been really fun, and I don't do a good job on typing up a race story, so people will appreciate hearing this over my horrible grammar on Facebook. So yeah, see you later.
Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you were able to learn something from today's episode. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to leave a review on iTunes or share it with a friend. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you'd like to see pictures from this athlete's race, learn more about who I am, what I'm doing, or be on the show yourself to share your story, check out my website at CoachTerryWilson.com. Until next time, continue the pursuit.